Chapter 1792, 30% to 70%. Brian returned to his seat, lay on the table and burst into tears, ignoring the people around him. This made Jangi feel very speechless, but as he said, at this time he could say that he was a dog, and being mean to a dog would make people look petty. However, Jangi would not underestimate Brian. The Natural Science Association of Colombia is one of the world's major alien organizations, and those who can join it are all powerful people. What's more, he can attend this meeting with Newton. Not long after, the people of Fons arrived here. Morena, the top of the combat power, did not appear, but the administrative representative, the god of fishing and hunting, Bodaga. It is said that the powerful goddess of winter rarely speaks and is a fanatical warmonger. She always likes to do things with her hands, not to talk. Bodaga appeared in the center of the venue, looking at the top aliens from all over the world, with a happy smile on his face. Thinking that so many of the world's top powerhouses have to work for them, Fons, he was in a very good mood. It was still a polite opening remark. After a few pleasantries, everyone was very calm. Everyone knows that a powerful mechanical civilization has appeared on the land of Fons. They have mastered the technological power that surpasses human civilization by hundreds of years. This has been experienced by Huashu Kingdom and Barada. And they also obtained precious civilization materials in the process of fighting with mechanical civilization. Emperor Shirtyan's face was a little ugly. He looked at Budagia deeply, and a trace of resentment flashed in his eyes. Jangi remained calm and wanted to see how Budagia would perform. Budagia continued, "If we can get the power of this advanced civilization, we can make great progress in human technology. Everyone here, you are very fortunate to join this hunt. In the next period of time, you will get the help of Fons to hunt those mechanical life forms." These words seem to have reversed the logic of the whole thing. Originally, Fons asked for help from various countries, but now it has become that various countries come to Fons to make benefits, and Fons has become a good person who generously gives them opportunities. The representatives of the foreigners from various countries had different expressions on their faces. Some were sarcastic, some were disdainful, and some looked solemn. Among this group of people, only one person had an extremely calm expression from beginning to end, as if everything that happened had nothing to do with him. He was wearing a red robe, and his long black hair covered his cheeks, but his eyes under the bangs occasionally revealed a deep light. The Junjing Church, Cardinal Arnold Olive. The reason why Zhang Yi subconsciously looked at him was because he would pay attention to King Arthur, an opponent who would definitely have a battle in the future. From this, he noticed that there was also a very subtle atmosphere between Olive and King Arthur. Maybe it's their internal conflict in Europe. Zhang Yi was too lazy to pay attention anyway. He didn't have a good impression of the Junjing Church. In the battle with the Wulwan Empire, Huashu Kingdom sent a letter for help to the Junjing Church, but in the end, their reinforcements did not arrive. But the words of Bodaka on the stage have caused dissatisfaction among many people. At the round table, a middle-aged man with a big beard and slicked back hair asked with a smile, "Mr. Bodaka, what you said is very interesting. It is clear that the alien troops of our countries have received your letter for help and rushed all the way to support you. Why is your tone changed now?" Many people showed a leisurely smile on their faces. Although they did not speak, their eyes were all on Bodaka. They thought so in their hearts. Bodaka raised the corners of his mouth. "After all, the situation will change." He put his hands on the table and said faintly, "Crisis and opportunity coexist. The invasion of mechanical civilization will also bring huge benefits. I think that everyone here, the countries they represent, do not want to miss this opportunity to enhance their country's scientific and technological strength. After all, in these cruel times, force represents everything." The big beard who just spoke was the alien from Rome, Jupiter, the god of light. When he saw Bodaka's appearance, he felt that this person was too arrogant. "But don't forget, without the help of our countries, can you, Fons, survive the current crisis?" Zhang Yi raised his head and looked at Bodaka with a smile. They all knew how powerful the mechanical civilization was. Fons, did not have the ability to compete with it. Bodaka smiled lightly and said leisurely, Fremons is very large, and the goal of those mechanical life forms is not to destroy our country and civilization. So Fremons is not in danger of extinction, Jangi suddenly said. For the time being, Bodaka looked at Jangi, and others also wanted to hear what this world-famous Huashu country alien thought. Jangi looked at Bodaka with a smile and slowly asked, Can you guarantee that the mechanical civilization will not destroy Fremons one day? Bodaka's face suddenly sank. No one knows what will happen tomorrow. After all, no one knows what the purpose of the sudden appearance of the mechanical civilization is. Jupiter said with a smile, so we need to work together. We come to help Fremons deal with the crisis of mechanical civilization, and we get corresponding rewards. The reward is also justified. Bodaka raised his voice. This is the land of Fremons. Even if you are invited guests, you should obey the will of the host. After a debate, Bodaka and everyone tested each other's bottom line. In the end, he gave Fremons true attitude. You can get 70% of the spoils if you act in Fremons. The remaining 30% will be given to Fremons. But correspondingly, you must carry out activities according to Fremons' arrangements. This is to prevent you from messing around in Fremons and affecting our country's overall strategy. Bodaka said what he wanted, and the representatives of various countries at the scene bowed their heads in thought, with a blazing light flashing in their eyes, all weighing the pros and cons. Zhang Yi smiled. That is to say, how we act depends on you. So, what if you deliberately assign the most dangerous task to us? Bodaka looked at Zhang Yi and said in a dissatisfied voice, Chaos, don't forget that we just helped your Huashu kingdom resist the attack of the Wulwan Empire not long ago. You are the least qualified to say such things. At that time, our people also acted according to your arrangements. Zhang Yi knew that Bodaka would bring up this matter. He also had words to respond. The previous action was a large-scale mobilization of the entire Huashu kingdom. We did not let the supporting aliens act alone, but the aliens of Huashu kingdom took the lead, and the aliens of other countries cooperated with us. And whether it is logistics work or the subsequent resource allocation, we have not treated any party unfairly. He stared at Bodaka and sneered, but according to what you said, you don't even need to pay any price to let us take the risk of fighting the mechanical army, and then ask for 30% of the spoils for nothing. How can there be such a good thing? Everyone is not a fool. What Zhang Yi said is what they thought. So they all cast questioning glances at Bodaka and expressed their attitudes. Fremon's wishful thinking is too good. It's really smart to let the top alien teams from all over the world work for you and reap the benefits yourself. Bodaka took a deep breath. How could we not pay? We will provide you with logistical support in Fremons in a timely manner. Otherwise, who will be responsible for your war supplies? Not to mention that cleaning up the battlefield requires a lot of manpower and material resources. It's not convenient for you to do it yourself, right? Zhang Yi said lightly. Our team doesn't need you to worry about this. Bodaka was so angry in his heart. Other alien teams don't have Epsilon-level space storage abilities, so a large amount of spoils still have to be dealt with by Fremons. But Zhang Yi doesn't need this. Bodaka was so angry at Zhang Yi at this time. He said with a sullen face, Chaos, no matter what, this is also on Fremons' territory. If you don't need the conditions I offer, it's not our responsibility. Zhang Yi put his hands on the table and started tapping. The da-da-da sound was clearly audible in the conference room. Everyone wanted to see what this world-famous alien was going to do. Zhang Yi looked at Bodaka and asked, You mean, you'll provide us with the strategic materials we need, right? Bodaka frowned at this time. He felt something was wrong, but still replied, Yes, that's right. Zhang Yi asked again, Is there a quantity limit? Bodaka smiled disapprovingly. Your team is only about 100 people, and the daily material consumption is calculated based on a maximum of 1,000 people. How much can it be? He knew that Zhang Yi was a space-based ability user. In the previous battle between Zhang Yi and the Mechanical Legion, he had taken in at least tens of thousands of mechanical life forms. So he would not say that you can take as many as you are able to. Zhang Yi shook his head. No, 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 that's not what I meant. I will only take what I should take for daily consumables, but as for weapons, my demand is very large. Bodaka frowned. Weapons? In his understanding, aliens rarely use hot weapons. Even if they do, there will not be too much consumption, and they are mostly used to assist in combat. Besides, even if Jangi consumes ammunition to his death, how much can he use? Even hundreds of thousands of bullets are nothing to Fons, a major military power. How many weapons and ammunition do you need? Fons will not be bad for you in this regard. As long as it is not a strategic weapon like the death of love, we will meet your needs for other weapons. Bodaka showed a smile that saw through everything on his face and said to Jangi, however, it must be weapons that are reasonably consumed on the battlefield. Jangi also laughed. Of course. In his space, there are now more than 300,000 guns and cannons stored. To support the consumption of his skill, Lord of War, at least hundreds of millions of rounds of ammunition are consumed each time. Due to the excessive consumption, Zhang Yi rarely uses it even with the full support of the Jiangnan region. Usually, he will only launch such an offensive when encountering special enemies. But now that he has met such a wealthy man, he will not be polite at all. So Zhang Yi leaned back in his chair with his hands crossed and said lightly, as long as you can provide us with comprehensive intelligence, as well as sufficient weapons, ammunition, and other supplies, I can accept your conditions. After all, it is on someone else's territory, so agree to it first. Now Zhang Yi needs the information on the mechanical civilization operations provided by Fons, otherwise it will be difficult for him to do things under the constraints everywhere. As for what to do next, then, it depends on how the situation develops. Seeing Zhang Yi nod, Bodaka breathed a sigh of relief. With the first person taking the lead, it will be easy to convince others. 30% of the commission is a reasonable range. Although the alien troops of various countries feel a little painful, they can accept it. However, everyone's thoughts are similar to Zhang Yi. They agreed to it first, and then they would make a deal if the situation changed later. After the meeting, Zhang Yi returned to his residence. According to Bodaka, they would arrange tasks for them according to the signs of mechanical civilization activities. Zhang Yi also knew that Bodaka might target him at that time. But who cares? Zhang Yi, who is the best in the world in terms of life-saving ability, would definitely slip away at the first time if he really found that something was wrong. Bodaka reached a consensus with the alien teams of various countries and went back triumphantly to share the good news with the top management of Fons. Aliyev, a senior official of Fons with a slicked-back hair, smoked a cigar and said with great determination, "What are we waiting for? Let them act immediately to deal with those troublesome iron guys." The actions of the mechanical civilization on the land of Fons have never stopped. It's just that the territory of Fons is too large, and the current population of millions is mainly concentrated in less than 10 scattered large cities. There are more than 1 million people in Karen City alone. For the time being, the actions of the mechanical life forms have not threatened these cities, so the Fons high-level officials have chosen to let them act temporarily in order to control the alien teams of various countries. Now that they have free labor, they must want to start a war, so that they can grab the benefits. The bald senior official Vladimir bowed and said seriously, "We should let them take back the city of Karen first. That is the capital of Fons. The fall of the capital is a shame for Fons." But Bodaka smiled and said, "Don't worry, although we have reached an agreement with them. But we have to assign them to the right places and let them solve the problem for us. And right now, no large-scale Legion-level mechanical life forms have been found to be moving. Instead of letting them get away with it, it's better to let our people solve it first. In this way, don't we have to share resources with them?"